Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Around South Jersey, live from the New Jersey Motorsports Park, the Finish Line Pub, where I see a lot of people tonight. Have lots of activity going on, and I saw several of my friends who listened to me about the great food that's here, and they had a meal which was stuffed shells, and they had the soup, stuffed shells, and spaghetti, and they also had the wonderful cheesecake that we all saw when they brought that out. All of that, folks, for just $16. So every Thursday night, think about it, it's a great place to come. And all Cumberland County residents get a 10% discount, and they have draft beer, $3 a glass, and they have a special for the women, which is a glass of wine for $6, and you get to keep the wine glass. Anyway, I want to welcome the Chiefs are here. I have two Chiefs. On my left is Chief Mike Lippincott, who is the Millville Fire Chief. And on my right is Chief John Fellis from the EMS program that Millville started. How many years ago, John?
2 years as of yesterday.
Oh, that's fantastic. Happy anniversary. That's great. But before we start talking about these two dynamic men, I want to tell you about their wonderful fathers. We'll start with Mike. And Mike, tell everybody what your dad was in the city of Millville.
My father was Sumner Lippincott, and he served as a city commissioner, and he was also did a term as mayor, and was a county freeholder back in the day, worked for the county as the freeholder clerk, was very active and involved in the community all his life, and of course, a biggest note to me, 55-year volunteer member of the Millville Fire Department, and that's where my legacy with emergency services started, was with my father, watching him run out at all hours of the day as a volunteer firefighter. So, and as you know, Jim, you worked with him and knew him, just very community and family oriented. And but the fire department, right after his family, the fire department was probably one of the most important things in his life. He really loved being a firefighter.
And he did a wonderful job in tying that together. As Mike had mentioned, I was a Cumberland County freeholder, and Sumner was still, in fact, I think he was a mayor. I know he was a mayor on one of the terms that I was a freeholder, and he was the county's clerk. He took care of all the things that, like Lou Thompson did in Millville, Sumner did for the county of Cumberland, and a nicer person you'd never find. I don't know, Betty was pretty good too, Mom, so I don't want to get too far ahead, but they were a great couple, and they're wonderful people, and we certainly miss your dad.
Yep, miss them every day, both my mom and dad.
They both made a great contribution to the city. Betty was very active at Trinity Church, as was your dad.
Yes,
she was secretary, wasn't
yes.
she?
So I grew up in Trinity Church, and they were very active. As you said, my mom was church secretary, I think, forever, and my father was very involved in the board of directors and things in the church. So both of them, great parents, and like you said, very, very involved in the community and very good with their family.
Now, while we're talking about the family too, I know you just had one of your brothers passed away recently.
My brother Barry passed away a few years ago. Yes.
Yeah. And then you have another brother.
My brother Bruce, I'm very close with, lives in Ocean City, and I have two adult children, and then my daughter just had our second grandchild.
Wow!
So we now have a grandson and a granddaughter, and so we're excited.
That's super. So tell me, you have two daughters?
I have a son and a daughter. So my son, I have a grandson, and my daughter gave us a granddaughter.
Oh, that's great.
So,
yep. I hope they're Phillies.
Well, we're trying.
Because I know Mike and I go to the Phillies games a lot. We're big Phillies fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
They get back on track a little bit.
Let's hope so. Get to the All-Star break in a winning mood.
Yeah, true. Good point. Well, anyway, this man on my right is John Feltis, who I think the world of his father. Tell everybody about your dad.
Okay, he was the mayor of Marshall Township for a lot of years. I think nearly 25 years, and then he was the director of Streets and Roads, Public Works, worked for you at the time for the county. So he did a great job there, and he was also a charter member of the American Legion Rescue Squad, which was the start of what ultimately turned into the Millville Rescue Squad, and then ultimately kind of blended its way into what we have today is the Millville EMS. So he had them roots in there, and that kind of brought me forward into the process and became involved in that, and was in my interest. And so I worked 30 years as a paramedic, and I retired from that and the hospital system, and then started working here as the EMS chief. Built the system, we got it up and running, and as of yesterday, that was the 2-year anniversary for the system. So otherwise, my father was a firefighter in Port Elizabeth, so he's involved in community interest stuff. Did a lot for a number of the communities, and continued to be involved in a lot of things. It was always willing to help people and everything. And he passed away in 2017, and missed every day by the family and everything. And my current family, I have 2 older kids, Kim and John, and then I have 2 twins that are 13 now, and they're excited to start C-Tech this year.
Oh, that's great.
And I have a child we adopted from China 4 years ago named Jeremiah, and he's going to Rowan College for engineering. He's excited about that, and so
That's fantastic.
things are moving along fine. And
That is great.
have a great wife as well that supports the whole thing. So
That's fantastic. Well, yeah, with your mom and your brother,
Mm-hmm.
brother and sister.
brother and a sister, yeah. Jim's my brother and Jackie's my sister.
Yeah, just great people. It's funny, folks. I was director of Public Works, the department. As I mentioned, Mike's dad was the county clerk, and of course I worked right next to him in the administration building, and we had an opening for a Public Works director, and my father worked out of Millville Silica, where your dad worked.
Mm-hmm.
And was one of the managers down there. So I said to my dad, I said, Dad, we need somebody for the Public Works director for the county. Do you know anybody? I sure do. Jack Feltus. And boy, I tell you, to this day, people still talk about what a tremendous Public Works director he was. And I got to tell you a great story that he was so good. I remember Al Gore came in. I don't know if you remember.
I do remember that, yes.
And it was Marshall Township. And of course, your dad was the mayor. And Bob Smith, I think, was a freeholder at the time. He said, Jack Feltus is unbelievable. He's not even a mayor. He puts the chairs out. He puts them away. I said, yeah, he cuts the grass. He does everything. I mean, nothing was beyond this man. He was just a wonderful person. Had a great sense of humor. I really enjoyed his company. And this is another funny story. Your dad and I, when I first got in, it was like February, and we had a big blizzard snowstorm. It's like, oh my God, Jack, what are we in for? But he handled it. He was there for 2 days in a row. He just was a tremendous individual. Did such a great job. And I know how proud you are of him. And I miss him too every day, as I miss Summer as well. Just 2 fantastic. And you know what, folks, think about it. What they told you and what I've told you about their fathers is 100% true. In fact, they are amazing men. And both their sons have followed in their footsteps. 55 years on the fire department for Sumner, Mike's dad, and Mike's now the fire chief. And for Jack, your dad started. For John, your dad started.
Mm-hmm.
The rescue squad volunteer.
In 1958.
Wow, he
started.
was one of the first members.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal. So I think maybe you had a little bit of that public service blood in both.
I think so.
We
Yeah.
did. I think we
Both
did.
in a period of time. So it is wonderful. You know, speaking of people, we would be remiss, Mike in particular, if we didn't talk about a couple of people that were firefighters who passed away. And one of my favorite was Dale Wetstock.
Oh, yeah.
How many years? He's your cousin, right?
Dale is my uncle. He's my mom's brother.
That's right.
And yeah, you couldn't ask. Well, as you know, the unofficial mayor of Place Street.
Yes.
The official unofficial mayor of, or historian of Millville.
Yes, that's right.
The official
Yeah.
historian of the fire department. Yeah, and Dale had 50 plus years with the fire department, and again, all as a volunteer.
Yeah.
And you know, just another person who his whole life was his family, the community, you know, the store on High Street,
Yeah.
and you couldn't ask for a nicer person, a more caring person, and loved history and photography, and it's great that we go back and look through the history of the Millville Fire Department. We're one of the probably few fire departments that has such a photographic history, because going all the way back into the early 1960s, Dale Wetstein was there taking pictures.
Yeah, that's
you know,
right. Sure. Yeah, that's right.
And so, you know, his passing was a great loss to the family, to the fire department, and to the community. But just a treasure trove. We're still going through boxes of pictures and finding, you know, things that he had as the historian. And it's really, you know, and I know you like history too. It's really cool to find those things and look at them. And we've actually found boxes, as Chief Feltus mentioned, with the American Legion Rescue Squad. that formed in '58, right, John? Pictures from early squad that he had of old members and things like pictures of his dad and things like that. So it's, but yeah, Dale's greatly missed.
Yeah, he sure is. What a wonderful man. And of course, the treasurer was there for a long time. Is Dave Vanneman. He passed away.
Yes. Dave, another 50-plus year member.
Wow.
I always told people that Dave was secretary of the Firemen's Relief Association, which is takes care of firefighters and their widows, things like that through the state association. And he had a job that nobody really saw a lot of what he did, but it was so important to the firefighters, especially when firefighters passed on to their widows. He processed all the paperwork. He made sure the insurance through the state that was paid. And Dave was another one that was there every first Wednesday of the month for the company meetings, and invested in the community. His family, his son Scott, volunteer in the fire department, longtime volunteer. So yeah, another one of those legends of Millville. He was a city commissioner, a couple terms, public safety director. Yeah. So yeah, two great losses to the fire department in a short period of time. And they take such that history that, like, Gary Wallen was another one that passed away recently. They were the ones you could go to and say, well, do you remember? They, 1963 on a whatever day, where they could tell you the history of a fire or what happened, and you lose some of that institutional knowledge when those guys pass on.
That's true. Yeah, right.
But we're bringing along some new old guys, and
that's good.
Like Chief Hess and
oh God, I love
who retired, and Chief Emeritus I call him, and he's still a source of wisdom and advice, and he knows a lot of history too.
He's got a good sense of humor.
Yes, he does.
Yep. I really enjoyed dealing with him as well.
Another legacy, and now his son works for me as a captain. He's one of my shift captains, Alexander.
His dad Penny was in the
His dad Penny. Well, they were neighbors, my mom and dad, and the Hesses were neighbors, 10th and 11th Street. Yep. And Penny was he was a longtime volunteer firefighter.
Well, Rosemary Rogers said good evening, Mr. Lippincott, Jim, and John. And Pete Wine just mentioned Dale Weinstein as well, which something that we remember. And boy, it's amazing. John, when the Millville Rescue Squad started at American Legion, right?
Yes.
All volunteer.
Yes. It was all volunteer. Yeah.
So then, when did the hospital? Did it go from there to the hospital taking over?
Went from American Legion over to the Millville Rescue Squad, and then it kind of ran independently for a number of years. And then it was covered by the hospital for a short time, and then the city decided to go ahead and develop its own agency, and that's when I got picked up to set it up and run it. And
in fact, most of the time it was run as its own entity with Jim Hurley was on board, a bunch of different local people served on board. And of course, John Redden. You ever want to find John Redden, you know what you do?
100%.
Wednesday or Thursday night, go out to Furnace.
Okay.
I go out there a lot on a Wednesday or Thursday night, and he and Pam, and his wife, and a bunch of wonderful people. It's like a neighborhood place to go have dinner.
Right.
And Bernie does a great job as well. But John put a lot of time into it too. Now, most of your time serving was for the hospital.
It was divided up a lot in different ways. Yeah, all my paramedic time had to be with the hospital because if you're a paramedic, you have to work through a hospital system. I'm still a certified paramedic, but inactive status because I don't work for the hospital system now. So it took some work starting out the system here because, when I got hired February 24th to start the system, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a breeze. It's going to be easy. I had to do this. And then a week later, everything in the world shut down due to COVID.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah,
it was having contacts I had, and I could call this person from the state on their cell phone and talk to them about this and that, and we got it done. It was a lot of help from Chief Lippincott and the other people in the firehouse, and some other people came by the side and said, hey, we really want to see this, want to help you out, so, and that's the power of kind of the volunteer side too, people coming forth and saying, hey, you know what, whatever you need, we'll get done for you, and so we don't really have a volunteer unit yet, but we're working on it. We're working through the pace to see how to set it up under the city side.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people around that might not really want to do the EMS side of it, but still want to be a part of what is continued from the legacy of the original department. And I think that's very valuable because, like Chief Lippincott was saying, you got to have some experienced people around because they can help keep you straight once in a while.
Yeah, that's true. Remember Rob Smith?
Yep.
I actually had an incident happen. I've been in the ambulance twice. Once in the Millville one. Thank God for you guys, because you saved my life. I got to the hospital just in the nick of time, because I was having an AFib problem. And then recently, this was a weird situation. I was up in Vinewood at a restaurant, and to make a long story short, I had eaten something that caused me not to be able to keep it down, and I ended up passing out at the table. So of course they don't know what's wrong with me. They figured it. Anyway, the Vinewood paramedics came. Of course, well, I guess the EMS. Paramedic inside. Well, Rob was the paramedic.
Oh, so he just took care of it too.
I said, "Didn't I do your wedding?" He said, "Yes, you did." So at least I knew I was wedded. I was back to the thing. Of course, we won't go to where it went from there, but we did a wedding anyway. You guys know Thomas Lamana by any chance?
Absolutely. I was at his wedding.
That's right, and you left me. I was looking for you.
Well, long story there. We couldn't miss. We couldn't stay for the reception, but we absolutely couldn't miss the wedding. Right. Thomas's mom and my wife are best friends.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and Thomas went to school with my daughter. They're the same age, so they went all through the school system together. Yeah. So Thomas is a great guy.
He know.
And
he really is. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. In fact, he has a boxing. I want to publicize this too. August 20th, Thomas is fighting as the main feature on the card. There's 10 bouts under Thomas's bouts, the main event. It's at Atlantic City Convention, or Atlantic City Boardwalk Hall. And it's going to be a great time. It's August 20th. You can just go online to Atlantic City Convention, or Atlantic City Boardwalk Hall. It's the Jim Whalen Boardwalk Hall. And the tickets are there. And I'm sure Thomas would love to have you come out and support him. What a great kid!
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough to watch sometimes, because when you know somebody, you want to cheer for him and all that. But watching him in the ring, kind of getting pummeled. I know we've been to his fights, and my wife kind of covers her eyes. The few times we've been able to make to his fights, but absolutely get out and support him. He's a Millville guy, and definitely deserves our support.
He really does. That's right. Yeah, you were at the wedding, and that was one of the weddings I did. Mm-hmm. So more of that one's lasted. So that's a good thing. I
showed up and saw him, and he was doing. I said, "Man, you do everything."
That's the one nice perk. Having been a mayor, you become a mayor emeritus, and you're able to do weddings. I've done close to 400 weddings. Wow. Of course, that would be from 1975 till today. But boy, back when I first got to be mayor, like Valentine's Day, I did 5 on Valentine's Day. Yeah. And another one that was interesting was Christmas Eve. I did 3 on Christmas Eve. One where we had the Christmas tree, near the JC Plaza. And this was a cute one. I went to a guy's house out Edgewood, Holly Heights. And I go and I knock on the door, and the guy and his wife to be come up, and they go like this, "Shh, don't say anything." Well, they were having a party downstairs, and they didn't tell anybody they were getting married. So the people walk upstairs, and they see me standing there, and they go, "Oh my God, it's the marrying mayor. You guys get married."
Marrying mayor.
Yeah. But that was one of the pleasant things. I don't know if your dad did those too.
He did, yeah. He
That's
did.
What was nice to be, and especially with family or friends.
Sure.
Ask you. I've done a lot at the sailing club. And, in fact, at one point, I was hoping I had done 12 counties. There's 21 counties in the state. I had done 12, but I sort of stopped there. Well, that one we did the other day was Gloucester County, is where it was. But I've done Gloucester County because I've done it at
400. You said over 400?
Yeah, just about.
Do you know what your record is? How many are still together?
Well, this is a funny story. Speaking of that,
see if you're the good guy to get.
I'm at Sidelines. I can't tell the whole story, but anyway, I'm at Sidelines. I had decided, in all fairness, in 2007, when you had to do gay weddings, I didn't think I talked to my priest at church, and he said, "Well, Jim, it's your call." I said, "I don't know if I want to do that." So I had Bob Connor and his wife. They were the last wedding I had just done, and I went and at Sidelines. I saw the guy who was the first wedding I ever did. So I said to him, "Hey, I'd like to get a picture of you and your wife along with it." He goes, "Sorry, she left me." I said, "Okay, I guess I'm 50-50, But that's how it works. No guarantees.
Right.
You've been married forever, right?
Yeah, well, 23 years right now. We just passed that in June.
Coming up on the 25th in a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
How's your mom, Joan?
She's doing really well.
That's good. She's a sweetheart.
She's hanging in there.
Yeah. I used to see her and Dad at, on 3rd Street.
Lynn's Deli.
Lynn's Deli, a lot.
She still goes there all the time.
That's good. Anyway, we're talking with the two chiefs. On my right is the EMS chief for the city of Millville, John Feldes. And on my left is Mike Lippincott, chief for the fire department for the city. And we'll be back to talk more about their responsibilities right after these messages.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
Anybody falling? Anybody feel they're falling?
Let's hear more from the Style family.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Welcome to Freedom Market, located at 701 North High Street in Millville. Freedom Market offers a wide array of gently used furniture, books, knickknacks, kitchen appliances, brand new mattresses and box springs, and a whole lot more. Need to make room in your garage or clear out that bonus room? Consider donating your items to Freedom Market and know that your donation is 100% tax deductible, while also supporting their ministry and helping our community thrive. Freedom Market, so much more than a thrift store. Call 856-300-5342.
Welcome back to Around South Jersey. Bob Millard was on board with us, and Bob said he served with John's father and uncle in the American Legion Rescue Squad in the 60s before moving to Chicago. Great people. And Wes Swiak's watching us. Jane Testis said, "Hi, John. People, I'm proud that our city is such professional and capable, in such professional, capable hands. Keep up the good work, gents." And we mentioned the others as well. So thank you. And if you're watching, you're certainly welcome to make some comments on Facebook. I'd like to remind you, every program we do is on Facebook, YouTube, and Channel 22. And I will tell you, this last football season, we had all the games on YouTube, Facebook, and Channel 22. Channel 22, we have no way of measuring how many people are watching because there's no Nielsen rating for the local channel. But what we did do is Ryan Borowski, our producer, went and checked on YouTube and Facebook, and we had, how many, Ryan? 250,000 for the season, I believe, for the entire season.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, well, and think about the fact that Millville had such a great season. They won, they won the states,
Right.
and all that. But folks, it's a great way to get your message out there. So if you'd like to advertise, please feel free to give us a call. We'd love to have you as an advertiser. But I'll tell you what, I give the last commission credit, which was Mike Santiago was the mayor, Bruce Cooper, Joe Pepitone, Ashley Douglas, and of course everybody's mayor, Jim Parent, because they were the ones who actually set this in motion.
Yes. Yeah, there was a lot of discussions that went into it, and there was a point where I was called into a closed session, and You know, we had, there was a lot of things going on that went into it, but the decision was made, you know what, we want to have ownership of EMS. We don't want to outsource it. We felt that was the best way to go, the city commission. So they brought me in and they said, you know, we're going to place it under the fire department. We want you to form an EMS. So I got with the city solicitor, and we decided to form a Bureau of Emergency Medical Services under the fire department. And I told them the first thing we have to do is find a good chief, EMS chief, to work with me to make that happen, because that's a full-time job in itself. And so we conducted a search, did interviews. Commissioner Pepitone was involved in the interviews. We selected Chief Feltus.
Good move.
And definitely was the right move.
John agrees.
So we brought him in. We had gotten a couple things rolling before John came on. We had gotten the ambulances ordered and that we were buying, and but we were really in our infancy as far as, and my staff. I can't say enough about my staff. My career staff, my captains, they all stepped up and helped me with things to get it going. And then once we hired Chief Feltus, they continued to, I know John was we found a spot in the firehouse for him to work. He came in, got right to work, and I know my staff was constantly going up to him, you know, anything we can do, what can we help you with, Chief? My secretary, same thing. So everybody was on board to make this happen and get it done. And like you said yesterday, 2 years, and it's just been an incredible success. I mean, it's not, we have some growing pains,
Sure.
You know, and nothing's perfect. We're going to continue to get better. But I can't say enough about the job that Chief Feltus has done. And him and I have a great relationship. He basically, I turn him loose. He runs things. He lets me know if he has a problem or whatever, but he pretty much is the day-to-day guy. He's running things, and I know he's proud of what he's been able to build there. It's I think we're getting recognized as being a good unit, and we're going to continue to get better.
John, how many people do you have at work for you?
32 right now. There's
How many?
32.
32.
16 full-time people, and the remainder are per diems. We rely heavily on per diems. The full-time staff cover the schedule complete, but for the days they want to be off, they do use their vacation time, so on and so forth. And you know, if we have somebody out injured or whatever, these people are instrumental in filling that role of making sure that we continue to have be as fully staffed as possible.
That's great.
We're getting beginning busier and busier all the time too, so we're looking on maybe trying to push up some more units. But you know, staffing in EMS is very difficult right now,
Just like
and so we're just getting ready to vote through a new contract, and that'll help out with different salary scales and some more things there. And so I think the staff's looking forward to all that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Wow, I didn't realize there were that many people. That's super that you have that.
17, actually, count yourself.
Yeah, 17.
16
yeah.
staff and then supervisors, so there's 17. But as the chief said about the staffing, and he can tell you more, but COVID, you want to talk about being on the front lines? EMS was on the front lines during COVID. And he could tell you some horror stories, and not only that, but then the staff getting sick. And again, I can't say enough about the job he did to keep the truck staffed and running while juggling people out sick and who's in quarantine. And it was definitely a challenging time.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But you loved every minute of it, right, John?
I did. You know, that's what makes us good at our job in EMS and fire and police. And you know, you get sent to difficult situations, and you got to make them good.
Yeah, and to both your credits, I mean, you've done that pretty much most of your life.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
You've grown up in it. You know, both of you, from
Yeah.
your dad, and seeing the family and everybody. Well, you know, I wanted to talk about that a little bit. I think earlier we were talking about how difficult it is to get police officers. In fact, like you told me, they did away with civil service testing.
Yeah, I understand that they suspended the requirements for that for a short period of time to get more recruits.
I've been talking to a couple of fellows that work at Walgreen about becoming Millville police officers, and you know, just seeing how difficult it is to get officers. But we have a funny story that, in fact, this guy just retired. He's too young. You know, I got to be mayor in 1997, and T. Fawcett, maybe his first year in the police department or whatever, the whole time he said, "Mayor, I want to be a firefighter." And he was lucky. He got to be the firefighter. Yep. My buddy used to work for me, Bill Stadnick. He never did get there. No. But he's happy now. He's sergeant in charge.
Yeah, Bill, good guy.
Yes, he is.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
yep. And his wife, Janelle, works for us in EMS.
Oh, that's super.
Yep.
That's great. That's really good to
So,
hear. But where we're lucky is to have that many people who care about police, fire, and EMS. And, that's something. Now, as you see, obviously, because the way things have been going in the country, the police department's harder to find police officers because of all the controversy and things that have gone on.
Yeah.
But luckily, there's none in EMS, and there's none in the fire department, because you won't let that happen.
No.
Right, John?
Right.
Well, I mean, and EMS, again, there's been some issues sometimes with staffing. It's tough, with the exposure to the diseases and stuff, but there's still a lot of people that are willing to step up and want to do that job. And on the fire side, we only half jokingly say it's the best job in the world. And well, I mean, how many jobs do the majority of the people doing it do it for free as volunteers?
That's a good
And then if you're fortunate enough,
Yeah.
like, as I was, and others, to make it your career, there's not too many jobs. And EMS is very similar. There's a lot of the EMS squads that use volunteers, and then they can make it a career. So that it's kind of unique in that matter. So
how many full-time officers do you have?
So we have 16 full-time. So, and then and 17, so 33 total, and then I have a full-time administrator. So the fire department has 34 full-time employees between fire and EMS, and we could use a few more, but we're good. Volunteerism obviously is down as it is across the country. We're struggling. So if you know anyone that is over the age of 18 with a good background and a valid New Jersey driver's license, and they're interested in being a volunteer firefighter in the city of Millville, come see us, because we're always looking to add volunteers. We do caution people when they come in that it is very time demand on their time. The training is over 200 hours just to become a firefighter, to go to fire school. It's done here locally in the county, out to the Ronald Martinelli Training Center in Rosenheim. But you have to complete that, and then even though you're a volunteer and you're doing it for free, you still have to meet the same requirements as a full-time firefighter as far as your skills and proficiency. So it is a big demand. I don't want to discourage people, but I always tell people, if you're thinking about doing it, it's a big commitment to come in and be a volunteer. But if you know anyone, we're always looking for volunteers. And then, as Chief Feltus said, we're hoping to add a volunteer component to our EMS side also eventually, where we can get some people who don't want to do it on a regular schedule or even on a per diem schedule, but may want to come in and work once in a while or ride as an extra on a truck. So be looking for that too. We'll be getting notices out when that program's up and running.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, currently we're looking for more per diem staff right now. So if anybody's interested, they can get a hold of, they can call the firehouse, and then they'll connect them up with me, and we'll get an email of interest sent over to me, and then we'll move forward from there. Recently just got a few applicants for per diem spots, and I'm excited about that. And we really haven't advertised yet, but we're going to it pretty soon. We're just kind of waiting for the contract to seal up.
What is the per diem?
Person that, like an EMT, would work a certain amount of hours, but not required a certain amount of hours. I mean, they have a requirement under the staffing policy, but they're not, like, they don't get like 20 hours a week or something like that. They work in when they can when there's openings.
They're essentially part-timers, but they don't have a regular schedule. But as the chief said, they're very vital to how he runs his schedule, because when the full-timers have their scheduled time off, the per diems, and it's a good job. If you're an EMT, maybe you have another full-time job, but you still want to work in EMS and keep your skills up, you can come work for us 3-4 days a month. And the nice thing is, as John always says, we're a high-performing EMS, state-of-the-art equipment, and we see a lot of calls in Millville, and if you like exciting calls, I guess is a nice way to say it. We have our share of them. So if you're an EMT and you think you might like to get some action, come see us, and Chief Feltus will talk to you about a per diem spot, and you can pick up 3 or 4 shifts a month for us and hone your EMS skills.
We're also working toward, we have applications into the state to become a EMS training academy through the state of New Jersey.
That's great.
Because I'm an instructor coordinator, I can run that. And we have some other instructors in the group, and we're looking to get that approved maybe toward the end of the year. Start working with, some groups. Like, I'd like to, work with a high school and get a few seniors out of there that we can bring in the EMT school that might be interested, and kind of work through that way to get people involved in that level. And then we're just putting together a ride-along program for those who might want to be a part of it but not really sure what it's all about. They can get a little ride time and Our students have to. So we're continuing to build everything, pull things together. Just takes some time. And so I think we've come a long way in a short period of time. In 2 years' time, we've developed a lot. They've become unionized. They get a contract that's being voted on next week for the first round. And so I think we're a long ways in. Talking to some other agencies that started in the state around the same time, they're not anywhere near them yet.
That's great. Well, I'm not surprised because they got some guy named Feldus at the top of the ship here. I did remember this. I just saw this. Now, do you know who your cousin might be from Millville named Jane?
Yeah, Jane Tester. Yeah.
Well, it just dawned on me because there's Jane Fitzgerald. And back at Millville Silicate, your dad worked with George Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
It was George and your dad and Bill Sayers and a bunch of people there. So now I just put that together. Thank you, Jane. Reminded me, and you knew who Jane was. And I'll tell you, she and her sisters are sweethearts. They really. Mary and Cormac, girl's first name. Jane's other sister. She's funny.
I don't remember. Okay, well, I don't see them all the time. I see them once in a while,
John, this is John McCormick. So Janie, hit me up and let me know your other sisters first. And I should know it. I feel embarrassed because they're just delightful young.
Me too, but I'm terrible with names anyway, so
Oh well, what are we gonna do, right? Lots of family. I'll tell you what, I gotta tell you this. I think Port Elizabeth is one of the neatest, nicest communities in Cumberland County. The people there, your dad, to the Laffertys, to the Rileys. I mean, there's so many wonderful people. Fitzgeralds. I mean, that's your family on the other side. It's amazing how many great people there are in Port Elizabeth, and just really admire it. And everybody I meet in Port Elizabeth is very nice.
It was a good place to grow up.
Yeah, it really was.
It really was.
Yeah, it's a great little community, and even got the Walmart now, that dollar store. Down there as well, which is good. Yeah. Oh, and I have to talk about one of my favorite diners. It's the Marsh River Diner.
Marsh River Diner, yeah. We go down there to eat every once in a while, and they like going down there. It's a nice place, and it's in Port Elizabeth, so
Well, there, I honestly, the portions are humongous. I could never eat the whole thing. I have to take half of it home. Portions are nice, and it's have you been in there, Mike?
Oh, absolutely. My wife and I like to go there for breakfast.
It's really pretty too.
Yes.
It's a very pretty diner. And I have to also mention, while we're talking about diners, one of my sponsors. There's other people who don't sponsor, but these people do. It's the Queen Restaurant. We all know the Queen Diner in Millville, and I love the Med, but the Queen Restaurant in Bynum, Lincoln and Landis, has a special. 2 meals for $25. They say, well, Jim, what do you get? Okay, I was there the other night. I got turkey, stuffing, salad, and I had a vegetable too, broccoli, and then I had actually had ice cream for dessert. So I had all that for $12.50. Now my buddy across the way from me, he had chicken parm and whatever, that type stuff. But it is amazing. 2 for $25. Inflation is tough. We were talking about another restaurant that I had gone to and had these guys guess how much it was, and it was expensive. But the Queen Restaurant, excellent, beautiful building, very nice. So if you get a chance, and it's 7 days a week, you could do takeout. In fact, I went in with 3 buddies on Sunday, and then one of them got takeout for his son. So we still had 4 of us, 2 each. So it was still $50 for 4 people to have dinner with soup or salad, entree, dessert, all that. That's a pretty darn good deal, folks. So anyway, stop up there, check it out. And the other good deal right here is every Thursday, 10% off the cost of the very low price menu anyway. And here you can get draft beer for $3, and you can get a glass of wine for the lady if she'd like. It's for $6, and you get to keep the wine glass. And tonight they had stuffed shells as their main meal for the people, and that along with super salad and the dessert, which is cheesecake. We all saw that. We were sitting there like, that looks good. And that was all just $16. That's it, $16. It's Thursdays only, and each week the main entree changes. But then as well, the price of the menu, 10% off what's ever on the menu for Cumberland County residents. And I'm telling you, I get this salmon salad. It is fabulous. Anything you get here is delicious. Antonio and his sister Anna have been here. They've been the chefs for 13 years or so here. Fantastic food, great atmosphere. Come on out, check it out at the Finish Line Pub. And I know you say, well, I don't know how to get there. Just drive in the entranceway. Tell them you know Chief like Lippincott, and they'll let you in. Just tell them you're coming to the Finish Line Pub to have dinner, and they'll say, welcome, come on in. And that's where we are. There's crowds outside. The outside dining is open now. And a lot of good things happening here. And I want to thank the New Jersey Motorsports Park for being a major sponsor on Quinn Broadcasting. And without them, I wouldn't have the Chiefs here. We wouldn't have all this action information for you. Now, do you, John, deal with the Finish Line or with the Motorsports Park?
We don't, only on something that would happen on the paddock area, outside the racing area. And Spirit still covers all the racing services.
Gotcha.
We take care of outside
It would be
the
tough
public.
for you guys to do that right now.
Yeah, it would.
I guess, stuff like that. But you did that when you were with Spirit.
I did, yes. Worked out there as a paramedic. Have a good time. Or should hear, so yes.
Okay, now explain to me while we're talking about in Spirit, do their paramedics come and back you guys up, or do you have your own?
No, they do. We don't have our own at this point.
So Rob comes work for you?
He would come in ours, yeah. They respond with our units, and they're a separate unit, but they do the advanced care work.
Well, when I was in the ambulance, Rob was in there taking my EKG. Tell me what a paramedic does. I guess is that what they do?
So the difference in an EMT and a paramedic, EMT goes to school for about 5 months generally, about 250 hours, and they do all the basic stuff. They'll do the vital signs, they'll put oxygen on. We're able to get nebulizers now and some things like that. So we're increasing our ability. Where the paramedics will bring in some more high-tech equipment. They can do a 12-lead EKG. They can look at different parts of your heart. They start IVs. They can run fluids in you. They can give you drugs. They carry about 30 different types of drugs on the unit, primarily designed to stabilize people until you get to the hospital facility. So basically, the initial part of what the emergency does, they will do at the scene. So you stabilize faster, reduce your pain, and it typically makes a world of difference in making people better.
What gets the paramedic to come? Because like I say, I've been in the ambulance in my life twice. Once in your guys in Millville, it was the rescue squad.
When the person calls 911, they ask them a series of questions, very quickly, short questions. Generally, the unit, the ambulance, the medic unit, or whichever is being dispatched as they continue to talk to you.
Right, yeah.
Because the two consoles listen to each other. And then, so there's no delay in time. And then, based upon like it's a cardiac, a chest pain, or respiratory, things like that, that adds the ALS unit to it. So that's how it gets put on.
Thank you, Kathy, or Janie rather. Kathy is her other sister.
Kathy, that's right.
She is so funny. Oh my God. She and Mary and Janie are sweethearts. They're good people. Thank you for messaging us here. And you know, I don't know if you folks know Hattie Ayers, but that woman is amazing. She was a city employee. She was assistant.
Yeah, I remember Hattie. Sure. Yeah.
I swear, I want to get together sometime. Hattie Ayers. I want to get together Arlene McCafferty, June Keola now. It was June Berry Keola, and Doreen said, I mean, they were the nicest, most upbeat, positive people, weren't they? You know,
yeah, absolutely.
Just always smiling, happy. I don't know if they ever have a bad day, but God bless them. And there's more too. I mean, they're just the ones I've dealt with City Hall, and the other girl that her dad had snack time. She's still there now.
I worked for the city years ago, and for quite a while, and I remember a lot of them people.
Talking about Wendy?
Yeah, Wendy.
Wendy Mercado.
Yes, Wendy Mercado. She's a sweetie as well. And of course, the woman that is like unbelievable, Samantha Cruz, right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
She's amazing, and she's doing all kind of things. And the mayor comes out and has a show with me. In fact, sometime soon. Speaking of people that passed away that were phenomenal people, was Terry Pangburn. I'm sure you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just a great guy. And I loved what he did with Millville Memories. And you know, I'd forgotten until this past few weeks ago. He ran the Fair Association. He was the president of the Fair
very active and involved in
was
that.
really doing well when he was doing it.
Yeah, his Facebook page, that Millville Memories, I love that.
You
and I have been talking about history and history of the fire department and everything, and that was that. I love that page. The old pictures and everything.
We're going to have a program with New Brand and hopefully Samantha and Lisa, I think is his wife. Try to get them to come on, reminisce the good old days with Terry. It was a special. Well, we have lost a lot of really good people. Just a few last
institutional knowledge. Yeah,
you bet. That's the truth.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is unbelievable, especially with Dale and with Terry. Wow. So, anyway, we'll be back to wrap up our program with the two chiefs, Mike Lippincott and John Feldis, right after these messages.
Have you ever wanted to make the big money? Have you ever wanted to drive the big construction equipment? Here's your chance to go to school, learn the big machines, and start a new career. MCITC is a heavy equipment operator training school that offers you the opportunity to learn to use the big machines and start earning the big benefits. Don't hesitate. Call today 856-825-6655. That's 856-825-6655. Or visit our website at mcitcnj.com.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
Anybody falling? Anybody feel they're falling?
Let's hear more from the Starmer family.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Welcome back to Around South Jersey. Jim Quinn along with our two chiefs, John Feldis, EMS Chief, and Mike Lippincott, Millville Fire Chief. And Mike, how many fire chiefs have there been in the city of Millville?
Oh, I don't know off the top of my head, but it's not a big number.
No, that's true. You guys, once you get in, you stay.
You know, and of course, for the longest time, the chief in Millville was a volunteer.
Oh, that's right.
And then my predecessor, Kurt Hess, was the first full-time career fire chief.
Wow.
So I'm only the second career chief. And then, so prior to Kurt becoming the paid chief, all the chiefs were volunteers.
Wow.
So,
Tell you, we were very, very fortunate in the city of Millville to have that, aspect of the volunteerism. And you know what, John, coming back to volunteerism, I'm sure you remember Reverend Manning.
Oh, yeah,
was
sure.
He, like your chaplain or
Yes.
something?
Yeah,
He used to get up when I was the mayor, and he used to say, I'm telling you what, and he would throw out some small number, like $75,000 or something, because of all the volunteers and all this kind of stuff. And it was true. What a great value the city of Millville got. But we're now in the 2020s and 22s, and we've now gotten into the era we need to be in. And to the past commission's credit and the current commissioner's credit, they've seen that, they've stayed with that, and that's really wonderful to have the trained people that you have and not have to depend on volunteerism. But again, talking about volunteerism, John, before we wrap up again, tell people what they need to do if they'd like to do ride-alongs or to learn how to do EMS, or if they already have some part-time training.
We don't have that system in place yet. It should be relatively soon, but really can get in contact the firehouse, have them get in touch with me, and I'll be more than happy to explain to them the whole process and what it entails. And I think then people can kind of get a focus on that and say, I think that might be something I want to do. And then we'll work toward getting them the ride time and get them, have them do a few things, work with the staff a little bit, and learn the processes and stuff.
And Mike, you can always use volunteer firefighters, but
absolutely.
But as you pointed out, it's not easy to become a volunteer.
No,
training is tough.
It's a big commitment, but I think it's a big commitment. But if you can do it, the fire service is very unique. There's a camaraderie that develops, and it's kind of cliche, but to say like they become like brothers and sisters, but they really do. And some people have said I have the toughest job because I'm a chief of a combination department. I have full-time career staff, and then I have volunteers. But I'm fortunate because the majority of my full-time staff all came from the volunteer ranks. And there's really not a lot of animosity. Some departments there's friction between full-time and volunteers. We don't have that. They're a very symbiotic group. They work really well together. And then I was really proud that when we brought EMS in, and there were some concerns, it was a change. And we all know people don't like change, especially firefighters don't like change. But I think John will back me up on this. They welcomed the EMTs in, made them part of the firehouse family. Now I come in the morning and there'll be a group of them, and they're the EMTs and the firefighters. They're planning what they're going to have for dinner that night, they're interacting, and they become one big unit. And of course, the firefighters go out on certain calls and help EMS, lifting heavier patients, things like that. They have to work hand in hand on motor vehicle crashes and things like that. So getting back to being a volunteer, you can be part of that camaraderie, part of that group. So if you're looking for something like that to belong to, like I said, it's a big commitment. Being a firefighter is not a lot of glory like on TV. It's a blue collar job. It's a lot of dirty, hard work. But there's a sense of accomplishment and pride. And if you're looking for something like that, and the possibility of maybe making it a career, come see us. We're looking for volunteers. Absolutely.
Yeah, and as you talked about the camaraderie, the fellowship that they have with each other. John, I guess I have to ask you then, I know you have a small building on Columbia Avenue that used to be a wine store for builders and whatever. Do your people spend most of the time at the fire department?
Well, we stationed one of the units at the Columbia station and one at the firehouse, but they can go back and forth. So a lot of times when the Columbia station gets all their vehicle check done, their reports and things like that done, they'll take a ride to the firehouse and go over there and kind of get together everybody for the same camaraderie kind of thing. And it works great. I like to see them working like that. And I can tell you that we have a great group of people as our staff in Millville on both fire and EMS. And the EMS people help each other out. And if one goes on a call and the other one's available and thinks they might need some help, they'll go with them.
Yeah, I thought that might happen, which is wonderful. It really is. I mean, and everybody, as we talked about, there's a lot of dedication. And we are so lucky in Millville to have such great volunteers, like your dad in particular, your family, and of course you, John, living here all your life since getting out of Marshall Township. You've given, it's something special. But you both got great examples from Jack Feldish, your father, or Sumner, your dad, were perfect examples of men that we had to look up to. I mean, just tremendous. Both of them were mayors. Both of them worked for the county. Both of them bled for in your dad's state, Swansford Township, your dad's case, Millville, for 50-some years. I mean, it's amazing. It really is. I'm very proud of you and your dad. And
Thank
keep
you.
up the good work.
Thank you.
And John, same
Thank
to
you,
buddy. Take care. Tell the family I said hello. Same with you. Please,
Absolutely,
as
will
well.
do.
I want to thank John Feldish and Mike Lippincott, who are the chiefs of the Fire Department for Mike and the EMS for John. I want to thank our producer today, Ryan Narowski, for producing the program, and thank you for joining us. And I want to remind you, next Thursday night's a very special program. I will be away, but Nick Seldar, former state senator, will be hosting a show from one of my favorite restaurants, the Queen Restaurant in Vineland, and it actually will be co-hosting the show with the mayor of Vineland, whose show it actually is, and that's called Anyway, it's the Mayor of Vineland show. So that's 7 o'clock next Thursday night. They're going to talk about marijuana and some of the things of sale and growth and all those things that go with that, and many other issues that affect the Vineland-Millville relationship. And I know Mayor Finucci and Mayor Ordorf get along very well, and I thank both of them for being willing to get together with Nick Seldar next Thursday night for a very special program. Again, for Mike Lippincott and John Fellis, I'm Jim Quinn. Thanks for joining us. See you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Have you ever wanted to make the big money? Have you ever wanted to drive the big construction equipment? Here's your chance to go to school, learn the big machines, and start a new career. MCITC is a heavy equipment operator training school that offers you the opportunity to learn to use the big machines and start earning the big benefits. Don't hesitate. Call today 856-825-6655. That's 856-825-6655. Or visit our website at mcitcnj.com.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
Anybody falling? Anybody feel they're falling?
Let's hear more from the style van.
This has been a QBC television production, in association with our partners and sponsors. QBC broadcasts on Comcast Cable Channel 22, and live streams its programming on Facebook and YouTube. All rights reserved by Quinn Media and QBC. Programming that serves the South Jersey market.